If you've been on the search for the most comfortable office chair, the Steelcase Leap has likely been at the top of many of the recommendations you found online. Now, many of those are coming from Reddit threads, best of lists, and general commentary around the web. With the way that the economy has been, though, the last few years, there's been a strong push towards purchasing used to save a lot of money. But how do you know what to trust, especially when people are recommending used chairs on Facebook and Craigslist because of their long warranties, but Steelcase warranties aren't even transferable? In this video, I'm going to go a little bit deeper, helping you understand what broad terms for used chairs like refurbished, renewed, and as is actually mean, and how those versions of used chairs stack up against a brand new Steelcase Leap chair. So obviously new is in fact brand new in a sealed box from Steelcase, but the lines become blurred when we start looking at refurbished, renewed, and as is used chairs. Now, defining refurbished, well, that exact definition is a pretty loose one, with it being as little as just wiping or vacuuming a product to as complex as rebuilding a product to a like new condition. For our refurbished example in this video, we're going to be using our own BTOD refurbished Steelcase Leap chairs. So each chair is torn down to its core, then rebuilt from that point. They're thoroughly cleaned, cushions are reupholstered, and in many cases, replacing that old seat cushion with a brand new one built to OEM specs, replacing the old arm pads, cylinders, and casters with brand new ones. And now by the time this process is complete, this chair in many cases is about as close to new as possible. When we look at renewed, this one is a little bit fuzzy. Renewed on Amazon is another term though that we're seeing a lot now. And according to Amazon, they break this renewed category into 4 different conditions: premium, excellent, good, and acceptable. For products sold as Amazon Renewed, they say the inspection and testing process typically includes a full diagnostic test, replacement of any faulty parts, and a thorough cleaning process. Now in 2023, we purchased a Renewed chair on Amazon, and it barely skated by what I call the acceptable condition here, in my opinion. Very old, stained upholstery, and it smelled like it was hidden in your grandma's basement for the last decade. Now, it isn't surprising that that listing doesn't exist anymore, but it has been replaced by a new one with equally bad reviews. Now, with an average score of 3 out of 5, honestly, it feels like a dice roll here, and the comments mention a lot of issues with clean, which at the most basic level here is a major important requirement for it to even be included in the renewed category on Amazon. Now, lastly is the as-is category of Steelcase Leap chairs. Now, there is a ton of options here. This one's pretty simple as far as the definition goes, but there's still a wide variety of options. Now, you can find used as-is chairs on the BTOD website. Now, these have been thoroughly inspected and clean, and we only really select the best of the best chairs for this particular tag. Alternatively, though, you can search eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist to find a much wider array of options as well. Some of these as-is chairs could be coming from private sellers or in some cases also small businesses. How much the chairs have been cleaned or inspected is truly dependent on the seller, and in most cases, you will be rolling the dice here a bit as well. Now, you can find some really nice chairs in the as-is category, but you can also end up with a lemon. Best case with these marketplaces is to fully inspect the chair yourself to ensure it's as clean as you feel comfortable with, and that, of course, the adjustments work as expected. Not sure what chair is right for you? Download our free office chair comfort cheat sheet linked in the description. We've ranked all the most popular chairs by comfort, helping you pick the best for your specific needs. What to expect when it comes to seat cushions on the various versions of used Steelcase Leap chairs can vary. The brand new chairs will always come with a new seat cushion from Steelcase, of course. But looking at refurbished, renewed, and as-is Leap chairs, you will find a wide variety of options here. 99% of the renewed or as-is options in the market today will include that original seat cushion being used just as is. This cushion may or may not be steam cleaned with a commercial grade extractor like we use here for our as-is Leap chairs. Now, a more rigorous refurbishing process will include taking the cushion out of the chair, running it through a steam box, and then adding a soft base layer of foam underneath the original pad to revive that feel of a brand new seat pad. At BTOD, we have a handful of options, from steam cleaning to adding a soft base layer of foam under the original seat pad to the newest option, which is actually replacing the old cushion with a brand new cushion built to the original OEM specs of the chair. The lower the price, though, the less that will likely be done to the seat cushion. Steelcase is known in the industry to offer one of the best warranties, 24/7 coverage for a period of 12 years on the entire chair. But the caveat, their warranty is not transferable, so it's only eligible to the original purchaser of the product. Now, refurbished chairs warranty will definitely run the full gamut. The refurbished Steelcase Leap chairs at BTOD match the exact warranty from Steelcase, 24/7 coverage, 365 days a year for a period of 12 years across the entire chair. Some retailers like Madison Seating have a policy that actually requires the customers to ship their chairs back to their facility to have that warranty claim performed and then actually pay for that return shipping again back out to that same customer. When you purchase from private sellers on Facebook or Craigslist, these chairs will not have a warranty. When looking at purchasing new versus used Steelcase Leaps, we have to consider the difference in the parts for these chairs. Purchasing a new chair from Steelcase guarantees that you're going to be getting all original OEM parts. These are considered by many to be the best of the best, which is why you're paying a premium for them. Now, everything else is truly compared to that as a standard in the used market. Many of the refurbished and renewed products being sold today use what are called used OEM parts. They're no longer new and could be as old as potentially 20 years. I know it's crazy, but yes, that is how well some of these hold up. In many cases, though, when refurbishing companies buy lots of used chairs, they will have defective parts that need to be replaced. Now, if they don't have new parts on hand, many will use cylinders, casters, or arm pads that are functioning on a chair that maybe isn't in the greatest shape to sell, and they'll take them from that chair and put it on the better chair to make that working chair, essentially taking two chairs and making it into one. Alternatively, there are a few refurbishing companies like BTOD who have invested in tooling to manufacture brand new replacement parts. These parts are built to OEM specs. This is something that we've invested in from the start at BTOD because we always want to have that option for the customers who want to get as close to new as possible, and this is going to give you that opportunity. Now, similar to other refurbishers, we do have a greener option that allows us to offer those high-quality used OEM parts at a nice discount for those who are price conscious. With thousands of Leap chairs coming through our production facility every year, we can be super picky on what parts we keep and back them then again with that full 12-year warranty as if they were new. Now, the last option, and this is it, the cheap aftermarket parts that you're typically going to find on websites like Amazon or eBay. There is a wide array of aftermarket Steelcase replacement parts though. Searching through Amazon or eBay, you'll find many resellers offering replacement cylinders, casters, or arm pads to fix chairs someone might own that is out of warranty, or maybe they purchased from a private seller. Now, I always use caution when you're here looking at these types of parts, as many of the parts that we've purchased through these types of platforms are not built to those same standards as the OEM Steelcase parts. In fact, many of the used parts that refurbishers are using included on these used chairs that are 10 years old or older can be higher quality than these aftermarket parts that are found on Amazon. The upholstery process used on brand new Steelcase Leap chairs compared to refurbished alternatives runs a wide range. Now, Steelcase has used the same process with tunnel ties for as long as their Leap chairs have been manufactured. This process includes a second piece of material sewn onto the upholstery, which includes a drawstring. This drawstring is then cinched and stapled in place, creating a nice finished product. Many refurbishers, though, are using a stapling process as an alternative to the tunnel ties, with the tunnel staples going around the outside of the upholstery, pulling it tight as they round the corners. Now, this process isn't necessarily bad, but it isn't to the same level as that original process. Now, when BTOD first started refurbishing chairs, the stapling process was what we used as well. But by mid-2024, we actually decided to make a change here to get closer to that original Steelcase process, using tunnel ties in our overall upholstery process. Now, while this is a little bit more effort required upfront stitching those tunnel ties to the upholstery, we found that the end results are far more consistent with their outcome for our seats and backs. Now, without question though, the worst reupholstery process we've seen in the used category is when some companies literally glue upholstery over the top of existing fabric. Not only is this just gross in general, since the original fabric isn't even cleaned, but it creates a terrible sitting experience with sort of like a crunchy, uncomfortable feel with two layers of upholstery on top of each other. The assembly process for new and used Steelcase Leap chairs is actually fairly similar now. Steelcase has recently changed to a ready-to-assemble format with their chairs requiring you to actually assemble those chairs. This means that assembly process is going to look exactly the same as one here at BTOD. Now, it should only take a couple minutes. You place the base and the casters on the floor first, drop the cylinder into the base, and then place the actual chair frame onto the chair, and you're done. When you purchase a used chair locally, the nice thing is you're going to get to leave with a chair likely fully assembled, whether it's from a store or a private seller. That should be true. The last thing we're going to look at is returns. Now, when you buy a brand new Steelcase Leap chair, you do get free returns. You've got 14 days from the time you receive the product to try it and decide if you want to keep it. Now, if you don't like it, reach out to Steelcase. They're going to help facilitate the return, pay for your return shipping, and give you 100% of your money back. Online, BTOD is going to offer you a 30-day free return program. If you don't like it, we'll also help facilitate that return, pay for those return shipping costs, and give you 100% of your money back. Other companies online like Rework are going to state that all returns for shipped orders are subject to a 20% restocking fee. In addition, Rework is not responsible for arranging return freight and covering costs associated with return shipping. So in these cases where you have to arrange shipping, kind of buyer beware here. If you don't have an account with FedEx or UPS, it's highly likely that these are going to be some pretty exorbitant rates. Take note on that for returns. For local purchases from a private seller, these are unlikely to have any type of return policy, so it's likely final sale. So make sure once you inspect it and you leave with it that you love it. All right, guys, that is it. If you guys have any comments or questions, drop them down below. Thanks for watching.